introduce my guest here, Mirik, Milan, the Nightmare of Amsterdam. Now, I know all about, obviously, your role, but maybe you could just give us a quick rundown of what you do.
Certainly. So, I'm the Night Mayor of Amsterdam. The Night Mayor is an independent, non-for-profit foundation which helps ensure that the city of Amsterdam has a dynamic and vibrant nightlife. We really want to bridge the gap between the municipality, so that's mayor and city councillors, small business owners like nightclubs and festivals, but also city residents. We always say it's by having a dialogue you can change the rules of the game.
Yes, very true. Now, I think it's been just under 2 years since I first interviewed you for City Lab, Mirik.
Yeah.
Now, back then, obviously the Nightmare concept was quite well established in the Netherlands, but in the English-speaking world, no one had really heard of it. And here we are 2 years later. It's been very, very widely discussed across the world, and many cities are actually creating posts that are in some way similar to what you've done in Amsterdam. So what is it that people want?
The residents want to sleep at night and want to have want to be quiet. But on the other hand, the nighttime economy or late night culture is really important for city and definitely also in area development. Think about all the talent development which is going on at night. Think about photographers, filmmakers, DJs, VJs, live musicians, but even also more creative people like decoration builders, and all these people that they develop their talents at night. Because the critical thresholds to get into nightlife is really easy. And when everybody knows, like we're here on Atlantic City Lab, when there's a lot of young creative people living in the city, they will also be followed by the creative industry, which is definitely a huge economic driver for cities.
To a skeptic then that isn't familiar with this concept, what could you say that the Nightmare's office, you and your colleagues, have actually done for Amsterdam?
Yeah. So our approach is also we need to have a multi-stakeholder approach. The night is often treated differently than the day. When there's a problem at night, the first reaction of city officials or the mayor would be to say, "Hey, we have to stop this now," instead of bringing all the stakeholders together and try to come up with a solution that actually works or at least makes the situation a little bit better. And so, for example, we of course have been working on elevating the upside of nightlife. Making sure that there's longer opening hours for nightclubs, that we have more opportunities for also women at night, for safety, for female representation, etc. in music and in DJing, of course. But we also look at the downside of nightlife. So, for example, we did a really nice project in a heavy dance nightlife area. And with the help of all the stakeholders and everybody involved, of course, police, residents, the community, our office as well, we managed to bring down violence at night, an important issue. We managed to bring it down with 25% in this district, and a nuisance of any sort went down with 30%. So you can see that having like a holistic approach, I think the night should be much more, the nightlife policy should be have an holistic approach and don't only see the night as an appendix of the day. So we started this new project called the Creative Footprint, because we think we need to manage the amount of creative space we have in the cities. If we have affordable space, we also will have creativity. And the creative footprint is a way to measure the amount of live music venues in the city, but also understand the quality of the content. We always say you need to invest in content instead of in furniture. The creative footprint is a way. It's of course a tool to influence decision making, making sure when nightlife really often helps to build communities. But when they build these communities or develop these areas, we need to also have some loyalty towards these communities and make sure there will still be room for this creative space. So the same with the carbon footprint. If you cut down some trees, you have to replant them somewhere else. And nightlife is really dynamic. So it doesn't matter if a nightclub would close after 5 or 6 years, but you need to have policy in place that will make sure you can open up a venue somewhere else, and then again these talents can develop their talents at this place.
Oh, I love that concept of kind of sustainable partying.
Yeah.
Good idea. What advice would you give to a city that's thinking about setting up an office like yours?
Yeah. I think it all starts with making sure, we always say you don't start with installing a nightmare or you start with installing a nightlife, you start with having a conversation. You need to bring together all the scenes, so that's of course the establishment, the big nightclubs, etc., but also the DIY spaces, of course the LGBT scene should be on the table, culture, I would also love, of course, museums to be also, like art institutions should also be on the table, and have a really widespread, and write a manifesto or write a white paper on what your night should look like. What do you want your night to look like? And if everybody agrees on this paper, then you can start forming this role. But I think it's really like the night has this opportunity to create more culturally diverse and social inclusive cities, because the basic principle of nightlife, and definitely also the basic principle of house and electronic music, is equality, and that's where it all starts. So I think the night can learn a lot from the day when it comes to this multi-stakeholder approach, but the day can also learn something from the night.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much for talking to me. Very interesting.
Thank you so much.